Good morning, everyone. Dear Mayor Burkhard Jung, President of EuroCities, dear mayors, vice mayors, officials, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, as I did last night, I wish you again a very warm welcome in Cluj-Napoca, in the very heart of Transilvania, Romania. Thank you for coming to Cluj. Also, dear President, I would like to thank you and to your team for organizing this prestigious event in the European Union and for the whole Europe, the General Assembly of EuroCities here in Cluj-Napoca. We know that is the very first time when EuroCities is coming in this part of Europe, and your presence here is a sign that Europe is in Romania, in Cluj-Napoca, Cluj-Napoca is in Europe, and thank you for that. Thank you so much. Dear colleagues, I'm going to speak at the beginning about the most important event for the European history, for the European future, which is going to take place one week ahead, the European elections. As we know, democracy and peace are not taken for granted in our Europe. And now than more ever, we have to talk about Europe, we have to talk about the future of Europe, because our future resides on our vote starting with 6th to 9th of June 2024. And I said before that peace is not in the DNA of Europe. We have peace just for the last 79 years in the European Union. For the other years, Europe was full of wars, conflicts, and tensions. Who brought peace, prosperity, and democracy in the European Union? Just the European Union as a project, the most successful project in the entire history of the European Union, brought peace here. But the peace, prosperity, democracy are not taken for granted, as many of them will think it. And especially I'm addressing here to the new generation, because they consider that what we have today is forever. Nothing is forever, dear colleagues. So we have to fight for democracy. Democracy is like biking. If you do not pedal, you cannot move forward. It's exactly the democracy. You have to exercise and practice democracy every day. We, the Europeans, we did understood, and Robert Schuman said 70 years ago, better fight around the table than on the battlefield. And we understood that just through collaboration, just working together is the key to our future. Unfortunately, you are in a country where the war is at the border of the European Union. 40 kilometers out of the border of Romania, we have war. Why? Why we still have back war in Europe? We have war in Europe because someone from the East did not understood that the future belongs to cooperation, not to conflict. So that, I think, what we have done in the EuroCities, as all the European governments did it, all the people from the Europe said, we have to stop Putin moving forward. We have to support Ukraine as long as it needs to win this war, because it's a war not just for them, it's a war which defends our values, our European values. So we must support Ukraine as long as it takes. Of course, Europe is not perfect. Of course, we still have problems in terms of inflation, housing, climate change, security, defense, strategic autonomy, agriculture, farmers. But without peace, we can solve nothing. So first, we have to focus on democracy and peace in order to solve our problems. And Europe is the solution, not the cause of our problems. We have to talk with our citizens to emphasize that our Europe provided the solutions. Our Europe provided to us access to prosperity, access to liberty and democracy, not the other way around. So, dear colleagues, I strongly recommend you, when you go back for the last week, to go in every house and to discuss with everyone about the future of Europe, and to encourage pro-European forces to join together and to have a stronger Europe after 9th of June 2024, because our Europe is stronger with pro-European forces, and I strongly advise to do that. Now, in the second part, I'm also to talk about another value which I strongly believe is so important for our Europe, is the cohesion. The cohesion, it's that glue which is keeping us together. We need to emphasize that in Europe, we do not have net contributors or net winners of the cohesion policy. We have net winners, not net contributors or net beneficiaries. Net winners we have in the European Union, and we need to emphasize that we need cohesion for every region, for every city in the European Union. Because as we need, for example, for a just transition, in every region of the European Union, we need a mechanism of just transition. For the automotive industry, we need a just transition in every corner of the European Union. So that glue must be kept, as must be reinforced in order to have a stronger Europe. And here I want to quote what former Prime Minister of Italy, Enrico Letta, said in the last report about single market and competitiveness. He mentioned a very concrete thing. On the other hand, on one hand, he said, we cannot allow to have half of the European Union untapped as a potential for the single market. But in the same time, cohesion policy is the other face of the coin of the single market. As long as we have single market, we need cohesion policy. So we need jobs, single market, but at the same time, to have a balanced Europe, we need cohesion policy. And he said, freedom to move, but also freedom to stay. How important is this message for Europe? Yes, freedom of movement is the most important freedom of our European citizens. But at the same time, nobody should be forced to leave his own city, regions, or country due to the economical reason. So in order to have a real freedom in the European Union, you have also to have the freedom to stay, to choose to stay home, and to have not just one-way ticket from east to the west, for example, but double ticket back and forth in the European Union. So we have to fight for that. We have to fight for a stronger cohesion policy in our Europe. Now, thank you. Because our theme now is more focused on digital, resilient, and our future about the green development. As I always said, green is not anymore a choice. Green policy or Green Deal is not anymore a choice for Europe. It's a necessity. You can give up smoking, but you cannot give up pollution. It's affecting our lives every day. We have to think to the future generation what kind of future are we going to provide for them. So from that perspective, climate change is a reality. It's happening every day. Last year in Greece was raining for 3 days, as was raining for 3 years, just in 3 days. But we succeed in Europe not to have casualties because the cohesion policy was there and we were prepared not to have casualties, to have victims. The same amount of rain in another part of the planet, in Asia, did 50,000 casualties. Why? Because they were not prepared as Europe is prepared. And why Europe is prepared? Because we have cohesion policy, because we have been working together. So that's the way to fight about climate change. Also prevent the consequences, and we have to do that. And I remember when another commissioner of the European Union mentioned that due to the policies of the European Union, in some place of Europe, kids for the very first time in a very polluted area, they understood what the snow is. They never saw snow before because it was so polluted, it was black. But when they did all the policy of Green Deal, finally they saw that the snow is white and can enjoy the life, and we can enjoy the nature. And I think this joint force between nature and technology represents our future. Here in Cluj-Napoca, we try to promote the same approach of development based on Green Deal policies, because because it's just an aim of the European Union, but it's for us, for our healthy environment and for our kids. I'll invite you in a short movie to see what we have done and we are doing in Cluj-Napoca in order to encourage and to promote the green policies. So if you are ready, please provide the short movie, and after that I have the closing remarks about green, digital and resilient. Thank you. We are part of the network of 100 climate neutral cities, so we are proud to be part of this common effort in Europe to be the very first continent by 2050, climate neutral. Our plan is, of course, by 2030 to provide a climate neutral city, Cluj-Napoca, in the broader context of the European Union. By 2028, for example, we are proposing and we are fighting and working every day to have a green public transport in our city in order to achieve our aim of being a climate neutral city by 2030. Now, at the end, I would like to invite you to reflect on what Europe means for us, what Europe is providing for us every day, and I will quote Seneca, a great philosopher, who said once, if someone do not know to which port it's sailing, no wind is favorable. So I think at this very moment we have to know where we want to go with our Europe. What kind of Europe are we looking for? A stronger Europe or other kind of Europe? I think we need a stronger Europe, a more Europe bottom-up, and here is the EuroCities, the cities from the European Union, to show that the future of our Europe resides in cities, and we are the core at the heart of the European Union. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, Europe means EuroCities. Thank you for coming to Cluj-Napoca.